We've seen countless TikTokers throughout the year blow up only to fall off the face of the earth. The app promotes insanely viral content that's fast-paced and intense, and this often leads to creators wanting something different, something a bit more sustainable. And you'll frequently find these TikTokers try their hand at YouTube, only to realize that it isn't as easy. But there are a few creators out there who've not only made this transition, but thrived at it. Like Jorge, also known as Horchata Soto, who now sits at almost 3 million subscribers, the same numbers on his TikTok, and pulling in consistently massive views. He's managed to prove that with the right strategy and the right content, you can bring your audience anywhere. And he's done all of this at a rapid pace. I was lucky enough to sit down with him and find out how he started in the space, as well as some of the struggles that he had to overcome to be in this position, as well as his personal tips for anyone who wants to go viral.
Yeah, so I got started March 2020, literally the pandemic, COVID. I was just bored, I had nothing else to do, so I downloaded TikTok. That's where I first started. At first I was just consuming TikToks. I used to think it was a kid's app, I used to think it wasn't for me, but the more I watched, the more relatable and funny I saw. I felt inspired to actually do it myself because I saw everybody just on their phones, at home, just following trends, doing little things, and that's how I got started. I just picked up my phone and I just made a couple videos. They weren't really good. It slowly just snowballed into more and more views. It was 100 to 200 views.
Yeah.
Looking back, it's not the most, but for me, that felt like a million, that felt like so much. It just snowballed into more and more views. I gained a bit of more confidence in front of the camera where I actually started talking. It just slowly turned into these story times that I was slowly starting to talking about my everyday life. I really had I don't want to say I had no skills, but all I had was, I was working at a Walmart. I just graduated high school. I have all these stories. Let me just talk in front of a camera and just share these. That was when one of my good friends, Brent TV, he got his TikToks and was just putting them on YouTube Shorts. You download them, remove the watermark, share them. Out of nowhere, they just took off. You start understanding the algorithms a little bit more. I think I went from 11,000 to 1 million subscribers in like 3 months.
3 months.
Which is nuts.
Whoa. Jorge clearly must have had killer talent to get all of this success so early in his career. For him, that killer talent was storytelling. Jorge told real stories that had happened to him throughout the years, but he told them in a way that captivated his audience.
So tell me what annoys you. For me, it's when I walk into a room and I forget why I came in. Yeah guys, I'll be there in a second. Let me just grab something.
This was a product of his early childhood and upbringing, which he said was a crucial part of his content.
People always ask me those questions, like how are you so good at this and stuff. I don't think I guess with experiences like that, I used to watch a lot of stand-up comedy. So a lot of comedians, that's where I eat that stuff up, dude. Like I want to be a comedian as well. That's how I got into the story time formula, because I had all these jokes, aka stories, that I wanted to share originally in 2020, but it's COVID. And that's how I really started to capture that formula. Also, I have a lot of really funny family members.
Okay.
Who, they tell some of the funniest stories, my mom, my uncle, my dad, like they just love sharing, like you all sit at a table, like by a fire or something. You're just like talking about just random stuff. So you kind of like pick up that little energy.
Is there a good example of one that maybe like a story your mom told that you then made into a video?
My mom is featured in a lot of my stories, which is funny, but there was this story that they would always share that I actually turned it into a video. I never took the bus to school for the longest time, and I always wondered why would we not do that? Like it's cool, I don't know, I want to be in a school bus, why not? My mom told me no, because your sister's first day of kindergarten, coming from school to home, she had to take a bus.
Okay.
And on the bus, she fell asleep, and she ended up in the lot. Like,
really?
The driver didn't notice her. My parents were waiting for her for like an hour, and they saw the bus pass by. She didn't. She was knocked out.
Jorge used these skills and stories to catapult a career he once could only have dreamed of. Talking about his life pretty much every day for over 3 years, he would record 1 video a day, 3 videos a week, and stream. But living like this comes with a cost, and it's something which a lot of people face in life. Burnout. And recently, despite being at an all-time high in subscribers and followers, he's found himself on a 3-month hiatus from social media.
You haven't uploaded in a couple of months, and I know that's something that you wanted to share a bit about as well.
Yeah, and I'm willing to share that.
What's the reason?
It was like three and a half years of just non-stop. Every day I would wake up, I'd film something, I'd think of an idea, I'd write something. I try to think of stuff that happened to me in the past. So that was like 1 short a day and 3 long YouTube videos a week. which is rough. Oh, and I would stream on the side too. So
Wow.
it was a lot. It was rough. I don't recommend that workload to anybody.
Yeah.
But I loved doing it too. You know, like once you get the ball rolling, it's so hard to like just stop it out of nowhere. Like you gotta add more and more. There comes a point where burnout happens, you know, and I feel like I crashed a little bit in 2023, like early 2023, when I first arrived to LA. It just happened, you know, and it was November, end of November, after Thanksgiving. I just said, okay, I'm gonna take a couple of days off, and a couple of days turned into a week, then turned into 2, then 3, then the holidays kicked by, which I think is a really bad idea because I know CPMs and stuff are the highest during December.
They go up, all those
they go really up,
right?
yeah, but I chose to take a break during that time, which I think says a lot about that burnout. I just crashed.
When you're your own boss, but more specifically, when you're your own business, it's difficult to switch off. For Jorge, he is the face of the business, and despite taking a few days off here and there from recording, he would still find himself checking emails or checking his analytics and constantly thinking about what his next hit would be.
I never ever took a genuine break. Like, you know, like I would take days off of filming, but I would look at my analytics, or I would think of other stuff on the side.
Stories and everything.
Or maybe I'd email people, you know. I've never really taken like a week off where nothing, like I'm off the grid. January, I moved back. So I'm like, you know what? I think timing is right now where I can take some time off. I have to move regardless, so I really can't film. I just decided to take a really genuine break, which I never did that. And it felt really good, you know, like I feel like people need breaks, you know. It kind of felt like a little summer vacation, because summer vacation is like what, like 2 months here in the States, so it's like 2 months, and I just feel like you kind of needed that, so I took 2-3 months now, let's say 3 months.
What's your advice for people who are struggling with burnout? It's something that is like sweeping across like tons of young people who are like very ambitious. What's your advice to them? Like, what did you find really worked?
Yeah, so for me, I mean, it's so funny because I'm right now like off of like the craziest burnout I ever had. During those 3.5 years, I would get burnout here and then, or I'd feel it coming. But there were ways for me to kind of like diminish that, kind of like settle it, like take care of it before it got even worse. And that was writing stuff, journaling.
Oh, really?
I would just journal what I feel, kind of. So it'd be like, okay, why am I feeling burnt out? Maybe like I'm out of ideas. I would literally write, I'm out of ideas, or I'm out of this, I'm out of that. Go outside. It sounds so like cheesy and stuff, but just clearing your mind really helps. It's good to take a couple of days off too if you need them as well. You know, I know everyone's always afraid of the algorithms and just the numbers if they go down.
You gotta feed the algorithm, right?
I know the numbers were determined by the amount of content you'd push out. So like the more content, the higher the numbers. So when you just take one day off, you see the dip in the algorithm and you're like, oh man, okay, this is rough.
A big question that I wanted to ask you as well, and in terms of sort of one of the final questions, is storytelling is so important. Is there a formula that you have when you tell a story?
There was a formula that I would really follow a lot, especially back in 2022, 2023. I feel like now, you know, with my break and stuff, I can really like change a little bit. But for the longest time, the formula was you got to try to like hook them in the first 3 seconds, you know? So I would always start with a question. I kind of set a bit of a plot, or I kind of set like a setting, give it a bit of a twist, or you kind of got to make it a bit more intriguing. For me, it's like every second counts, every single word counts.
Throughout his rapid rise to the top, Jorge's incredible storytelling and dedication to improving every single day have led to results most people can only dream of. It's something which he should be really proud of looking back. And speaking of looking back, I wanted to know what advice he would give to you in order to achieve your own goals.
I have 2 pieces of advice, I'd say. The
Give
first
2.
one is don't stop. It's so fun, I'm coming off a break, but like, it's so ironic. But I used to always say, don't stop, because at some point it's gonna, like, everything will just happen. You keep on knocking on those doors, you keep on knocking on those algorithms. It's just gonna happen, you know? That was what a lot of people would give me for advice when I was starting as well, because when I was posting these TikToks on YouTube, they really weren't finding that much success. I posted like 80, I think it was 82 shorts until my first one really took off. I would ask for advice from a lot of creators. What's the secret? That's all I asked. Like you know, you're young, you're like, what's the secret? Like, what'd you do, bro? And he's like, just post.
Wow.
And I'm like, are you sure? Like I thought he was messing with me, or I just thought, I'm like, bro, you're gatekeeping something. I know you are.
Tell me the secret.
Yeah,
right?
like, come on, bro. Like, really tell me. He's like, dude, like, one of them's gonna work.
And it worked.
It just worked. It worked, yeah. You just don't stop, and it just happens. You just keep on posting, just post. Another one, too, is don't overthink. That's a big one that I'd say, a big piece of advice, because there are periods of time, there's still periods of time where I overthink things, where, oh, does the lighting look good, this and that. Obviously, you want stuff to look decent, but you don't have to perfect it every time.
That's great. I mean, that is, those are two very, very powerful pieces of advice. Don't stop, don't overthink it.